Hello, welcome back to the Spider's Web, and in this video I'll just put my little light on. In this video we're going to be continuing with Vampire Hunters. We have the heroes, the Vampire Hunters themselves. I still have a few of the bigger vampires to go in the base set, but I'm focusing more on the the heroes, because those bigger vampires we won't be using in the first mission, which is the one that I'm planning on doing on Halloween. So we'll get them done as and when. I just want to focus on getting the hero figures done. Now this chappie, he isn't used in that mission either, so we can go away. What we do have are 4 hero characters. And there we are. Now we have Sarah, who is this one. We have Magenta, who is this one. We have Joshua, who is this one. And we have finally Stefan, who is this one. Ali picked the one that I'm painting today. I gave her the choice and she went for Sarah. So we will put the other 3 to one side for the time being, because we won't need them at this moment. We are going to concentrate now on Sarah. Again, as with the other models we've done for this game, they're not brilliant. They're not really models that you could spend time, display and put into competitions, that kind of thing. But they do the job really, really well for game pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically near enough ignore the mould lines that's in it. I've tried to get rid of most of the more obvious ones, the ones that could pose an issue for us with painting, because you don't really want them you don't really want them at all if you can do anything about it. But these sort of like right where it's the old story where you've got some detail, you've got a mold line going through, and as soon as you start scraping them you're going to lose some of the detail. So I don't particularly want to lose any of the detail at all. So I'm just going to try and get rid of the most obvious of the mold lines. And hopefully it will give a smooth paint job. The problem is the most obvious of the mold lines are right on the outside, just where you're going to be looking. So the problem is, can I get them removed without affecting the finished product? We'll just give it a bit of a brush. There we are. That's it. I can't do much else. So Sarah, let's get Sarah's card out. That's her vampire colours. There is a biography of the different characters in here. Let's see if we can find them. They're the weapons. Let's see what we have. I'm sure there was a card which gives a little bit of a backstory to the characters. I may be wrong on that. Maybe thinking of a completely different game altogether, which looks like I am doing. Oh well, never mind. Unless of course it was in the rule book, I don't know. But yeah, there we are, that's Sarah. So, very gothy looking woman. So she does have military type clothing on, which means we're looking at khakis, blacks, dirt greys, that kind of thing, glass magenta. So let's get on with it, shall we? So first off, let's start with, what am I doing that for when I want flesh tone? I don't want Rakarth flesh. Excuse me. Start off doing something and that's when it decides I'm going to start coughing instead. Screaming Skull, don't want that. What's that growing earth? Definitely don't want that. Steel Legion Grab, don't want that. Festival Flesh. Where the heck are you? Oh, there we are. Found it. Kislev Flesh. This is the one I like using for a lot of things where pale skin is concerned. So we'll get some Kislev Flesh on the go. There's not a lot of flesh visible for this, so I'm not going to be going into any great detail, well, any great amount of paint. What I should have done, however, is got some more water in the pot. Too busy getting myself set up that I've not been watching what I needed to replace. What of this water has evaporated since I last used it. Oh well, never mind. So we have Kislev Flesh, and we're going to be going over, surprisingly enough, on the areas that will be flesh. Now, yep, I would imagine, I was going to say I would imagine she's wearing gloves, which she is doing. Let's try and get as much colour on as we can without it being too what's the word I'm looking for? Without it being too thick, which is why we use watered down paint. I have not painted, I don't think, since I came back from Scotland. That was in July. Sorry, I have, because I painted some of the Titans, didn't I, for Mythic Battles Pantheon. Haven't done anything this small, shall I say, since I've come back from Scotland. And what I need to do is make sure that everything I do is covered where it needs to be. There we are. And we don't have any bubbles. Seems to be getting a lot of bubbles in this paint, and I don't know why. Never mind. Right, so that's that done. Next we're going to use not black but a dark grey. Oh heck. The Eshin Grey that I was going to use has been left open. So I'm using Incubi Darkness instead, which is that colour. I need to replace a lot of my paints, unfortunately, but that can be done. Well, there we have the Incubi Darkness. I've lost one of my tripods. I don't know where my bigger of the two smaller tripods that I have has gone to. The last time I remember it, I took it to the studio with me when I was planning on taking a photograph of my guest for the day a couple of weeks ago, and I took my tripod, I forgot to take my camera, so we ended up just taking a selfie. And I can't remember what I've done with the tripod afterwards. I don't think we left it, but anything's possible. I actually went down looking for it. I'll see if it was there on Thursday evening, and I didn't see it anywhere. So I'm not saying it wasn't there. Somebody may have taken it home for safekeeping, but nobody's put anything on the Facebook page to say, is anybody, oops, that shouldn't be Inky by Darkness. Nobody's put it on the Facebook page asking if anybody's left a tripod. Unless the woman who follows me on a Monday afternoon has realised it could have been me and has taken it home anyway. Don't know. But I cannot put my hand on it at all here at home. So I am making do with a smaller tripod, and hopefully, in fact, I'm making do with it, but it seems to be doing exactly what I want to do. It just seems to be the perfect height as it's, what's the word I'm looking for, as it's at its highest setting. And that's one of the reasons why I don't particularly like using this one for this job, because at its highest setting it's more susceptible to being knocked and, what's the word I'm looking for, subjects of vibrations, because it's not a brilliant tripod I've got. It's just a small tripod that I've got off eBay. Very lightweight job. But as I say, it does the job. It does the job indeed. So until I can find the one I've lost, this is the one we're going to be using. But as I say, it does the job, so we're fine. Inky by Darkness for the trousers. We'll go with that. Next, we're going to go with not that one. I think it's this one. Let me just double check. Yes, I think it is that one. This one is for the t-shirt thingy she's wearing, and it's castellan green. Want a nice khaki colour for this character. There we go. We'll just pop that on there. Rinse the brush off, and we'll get into this one. And here we go. Now, as I say, we're going to be using this for the t-shirt she's wearing, not the body armour. So we're just careful as to where we apply this. I just want it on the material parts, not the armour. because that's going to be a different colour altogether. And there we have it. Just make sure, as I say, everywhere that we want this colour gets it. And that should be it. There we go. Next, we want, what do we want? We want that, but not quite yet, I don't think. Or do we? The brand new one I got. Let's move that out of the way and you can see what I'm looking at. Have I not got a... Nope, I think I used it all, didn't I? Nope, it's there. Abaddon Black. That's the one we're using next. I know I've not got much of this left. But we'll use a little bit of that there and pop in some of the Occupied Darkness here and a spot of the green, just to take off the stark black colour, because we don't want it all looking black. This is going to be for the body armour. And as you can see, it's slightly different colour, or a slightly different shade. It has that kind of a slight greeny bluey cast, which is what I'm looking for. At least I'm hoping you can see that. What I'm going to do is just angle that a little bit like so, and then so hopefully you can see properly what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to achieve, which I'll say is just a slightly different shade of the black colour that I want to use for the body armour and the straps. Yeah, I just have to remember that it's this particular colour that I'm using now, it's not the other dark colour, because I've got a habit of mixing colours up what I want for certain things and then using it for other things that I don't want it for, as you may have noticed in other videos. So I said all the body armour and the straps will be done in this colour. As I say, it's just to differentiate all the different areas that we have for this mini. There's a lot going on in such a small mini, and I want to make sure that you can see what's going on with it, and it's not all blacks and greens, and there's all sorts of different colours you can see, which is I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting to look at. Although saying that, it's just, as I said, a game. Not be a second. Somebody at the door. There we are. It's not somebody coming here, it's somebody going to another flat that can't be bothered pressing another button. Typical. Ah well, not to worry. I've turned meeting to come off now, so I'm not going to be getting any more disturbances from that. So, we will carry on painting here. Sticking with this very dark green colour that we mixed up. I suppose I could have gone for Caliban green, which is a dark green, but I didn't want to go with something like that because it's not quite dark enough. Wanted to make sure that it was as dark as it could be. Make sure I get everywhere I want with this colour. There we are. And now the body armour for the legs. And it's an interesting little character, this one, for painting. As I said, there's a lot going on with it, but on first glance it doesn't look much of a figure. But once you get looking at it and painting, you can see roughly what there is to paint. And you see all the things you've got to do. It's amazing we've got everything sculpted in this one small mini. As I say, I'm not trying to do these to match the quality of the paintwork I did for the Mythic Battles Pantheon ones, because there's no way in hell that these models warrant such careful paint jobs and such detailed paint jobs, because they're just, as I said earlier, gaming pieces. They're not really anything you'd be wanting to display. And I keep feeling sometimes that I'm saying the same things over and over again. I just want to make sure that the message has got across as to why I'm doing certain things, because sometimes I get comments left about something I'd stated in the video that had been missed. So I just want to make sure that my reasoning and my thought process for what I'm doing is understood by going over it again and again in the video, because it saves any misunderstanding later on. And there we are. Now, as I said, some of these are going to be black, and some of it's going to be this dark green colour. And why is this not on camera? Let me just try and angle that up a little bit more. There we are. Next job. I think that's all for that. I'm just going to go over the skin tone once again to make sure that it's all covered and even before we do anything more. I don't want to be going too far with this and then realise that something's not quite right, especially with the skin tone. So I'm just going to make sure that this part is done. And at the moment we are just literally blocking in colour. We're not doing detail and highlighting at this moment. This is just making sure that the bits that we want certain colours are that colour. We are going to be washing a little bit later. So that's going to give the shadow colour, and then I think that's like an armband, so I'm going to do that a little bit more and then try and avoid getting it everywhere else. Okay, I know I said the dark green colour that we've just been using is going on the straps and things, but the gloves I want a different colour anyway, so I'm not too worried about going over that at the moment. I'm just trying to avoid going over everything else, and sometimes with figures like this it's quite difficult to see or get to the area that you want to paint. Not so much see it, but I'll try to be able to paint it without going over anywhere else. So we're just going to keep at it and hope for the best. Going back into the dark green colour now, because I managed to get some of the skin tone on it here. I want to go back over it. Oh yeah, I think that will do. I'm saying it's dark green colour. It's really not quite dark green. It's it's almost a greeny black colour. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got everywhere painted the colour that I want. There we are. I think that is it. Okay, so next we are going to now go into the black, and for that, or with that, we're going to be painting boots. Paint one boot, two boots, and we're also going to paint the gloves this colour and her hair this colour. Hope you can see that. Which is tricky trying to see where one piece of detail starts and another one ends. And so they're not very... It's such a small mini for this. You know, it's a 28mm mini, I think. It's because it's human sized, it's not massive. It's comparable to the Talisman minis, I would say, and yeah, I think that is it. No, a little bit underneath there like so, and that is it for the gloves. Next bit is this armband. I'm going to do that in black. As well. And now her. And that is that for the initial base coating. We just need to do the crossbow. Oh heck, I've just got black paint all over her face. Right, I'm just going to wet the brush, not too much, and see if I can just get this black. No, it's gone too far. Okay, so what I will do is get back into the Kisma Flesh. Can hopefully try and disguise it a little bit later with doing other things, but let's allow that to dry and do our whatchamacallit, stake and crossbow. For the wooded parts, what I usually use, dryad bark. I like this one for wood, that's why I use it. So I'll just bang some of that on the palette, and again all over where it's wood, get a coating of this. I'm not too fussed with trying to work out where all the details are. I'm just slapping it on at the moment. I can come back and sort details out a little bit later when it comes to highlighting. Assuming of course I can actually see where the details are. Now I know part of this is like a blade, so I don't want to do this bit here. Not in this colour anyway. But the rest of it I can do in this colour. And then pick out, what's the word I'm looking for? Pick out the metallic parts later on. So So there we are. That will do just about right, I think, I hope. Next is the steak. Make sure I've got that on the go, and then we'll do this hand grenade or whatever it may be on a belt. I think it's a hand grenade. Get that done. The top of the steak. Ooh, so on this talk of steak, I'm getting hungry now. Different kind of steak, Stephen. Keep your mind on the job. Anyway, that I think is that so far. Next job, the metallic parts. That's going to be done as per usual with what I usually like to use for the base coat for metallics, after giving it a good shake, that is Warplock bronze. We'll go over that with silver colour afterwards, but just spotted this on and just go over the whatchamacallit, the area that I think is going to be the blade. I'm not sure whether it's all going to be blade or whether part of it is, but I'm just going to do it anyway as the long of its blade, because I can, no other reason. I'm also going to do the tip of the crossbow bolt arrow thingamabob, and that is Sarah base coating. I'm going to go back into Kisler Flesh now to redo her face, so you can hide that black anymore. There we are. That's that done, and now just give it a few minutes to dry up. In fact, I don't need to give it a few minutes to dry up because I'm not doing that part with the wash. So for the wash, we're going to be using Reichland Flesh Shade, and that's going to be going near enough all over. Once this is dried, we'll come back and start highlighting. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. When I come back, as I say, we'll finish off painting Sarah, and hopefully, and I mean hopefully, we will be able to get all of these minis for Vampire Hunters, or at least the core game, painted before Halloween. That includes the bigger ones, or the bigger vampires that I haven't actually done yet, that aren't featured in that initial what's the word I'm looking for, in that initial oh dear lord, scenario. I'm going to be doing that with Damien and Lee on Halloween itself, because it's a fairly simple one to play. I think they might enjoy it, at least I hope they will. I know Ali enjoys. I only played it once or twice and enjoyed it. The only thing is I haven't actually managed to get it to the table to play on camera as yet, so the debut is going to be on Halloween. And I hope you all enjoy it as well. You may have seen it played in other channels. Hopefully I'll get the rules right, which will be somewhat of a miracle if I do. I always make a mess of something or other when it comes around to rules, but fingers crossed I can get these right, or as near to as possible. again, with the games night videos, I'm not trying to show you how to play. We're just inviting you to join in with me and a few friends as we play a game. They're not instructional videos. We're just doing it for a bit of fun. If I was doing it like an instructional video, I would make sure I get the rules. If not perfect, oh well, if not as best I can do. If, as I said, that was if I was doing an instructional video, which, as I said, the Halloween and games night videos aren't instructional videos. So that's it for Sarah for the time being. I hope you've enjoyed this video. When we come back after the wash has dried, we'll get on to highlighting. But until then, as always, take care, God bless, and bye for now.